Loistrum. Loistrum. I'm practicing. Loistrum. Hi everyone. Welcome to my very first hacked planner video. Um, okay, this is a collab video with my friend Pam Tonino. You can find her on YouTube under the username PTANINO. And we're doing a collab video because we were talking in a Facebook group about tracking our YouTube stats. Most people, if you create YouTube videos, you kind of understand that there are some, at least, a minimal amount of things you kind of need to, off the top of your head, know and be comfortable with, just so that you can see how you're doing as far as being a YouTube artist. So we were talking about that, and I had this, I actually had seen this video from a channel called Boho Berry. It came up in my related videos, or what to watch next or something like that. And I watched it, and it was all about her doing a personal tracker. And she is a planner person. She does bullet journaling, and although I don't do that type of planning, my planning system, what little there is to it, is a digital, fully digital system. I don't do a lot of paper planning. Um, but when I saw the personal tracker, I was like, now that's something I can kind of get behind, because I really did need a way to kind of at a glance have the tracking done without having to go into analytics and change settings and click on different links in order to find out the information. And then I don't always feel like I can get the view that I want to see. So like I kind of get an overload of numbers, but sometimes I want like a comparison view, week over week, month over month, you know what I mean, that I just don't feel like I can get as easily out of Google Analytics. I spent many years being a budget analyst, and my job was to take numbers in their raw form and condense them down into a way that the big picture sort of folks could get the information in a report format that was very specific to their needs. So because of that, I have a higher standard, I guess, for what I want to see and how I want to see it and how I want it to be super easy. So I really loved her tracker. I also liked the personal tracker part of it as well. But I really loved her tracker, and I wanted, immediately was inspired to do something myself. So I just want to take you through really quickly my unplanner, or my hacked planner. That's kind of like how I think of it, as like my hacked bullet journal. Just really fast, I'm just going to show you some of the things that I do in it, and maybe it will inspire some of you who are not planner people like me, um, but who need a little something to be able to write ideas down or track things. Um, and I will say, right from the very start, that I'm an art journal artist. So in my art journals, that's where I do my daily tracking. That's where I record the little bits of life, the day-to-day life and the fun little things and the memories and stuff like that. I do all of that in my art journal. So I really don't need a planner to journal in. I also don't need a planner to track things daily. I will here really quickly try to show you with the least amount of annoyance, hopefully, um, how I track things in a digital way, because I don't do things in in a analog way. So this is my week quickly at a glance. I keep this in. It's connected to my Google Calendar. I think it's Google Calendar. Anyway, whatever it is, I can pull it up by pulling up my Google account. So This is how I track the days that I work, what I do on those days, as well as other events. I like this simply because I can make a broad year over year change simply by clicking on one item and, editing. Is it going to continue to be that day, that length of time? Do I want a reminder for it? Is it every day? Like this one is weekly on Friday. So that's what I like about a digital system. And it's everywhere I go. I don't need if I want to make a change to it, I don't got to change it on, you know, 10 different pieces of paper, um, or on my monthly view and my weekly view and my, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to do all that. It just happens all at one time. So that's kind of why I'm very digital. Also, when it comes to remembering things, a little tiny notification that pops up, I may very well miss that. I'm terrible about those little notifications. And I need something that's going to really just like be like an annoying little kid, that taps you on your shoulder. That's kind of what I need. That's my personality. I can get distracted making art or doing something like that and forget about something, even though 5 minutes ago I remembered it. So I use an alarm system very, very heavily. Right now I actually only have 4 alarms in here, which is amazing. But I normally probably have like 10 or 15. And I'm lucky that the particular system that I'm using on my phone lets me have an unlimited number of alarms. I set these up again in the same way. Sometimes it's set for every single day, sometimes it's only one day a week, sometimes it's only once a month. This system lets me do that. It has a snooze button, and that is really, for me, the key, most important thing. Because even though I might remember it right now, the alarm goes off, I go, oh yeah, I got to go do that in 5 minutes, but I got to do this other thing first. And then by the time I get that other thing done, I have, potentially could have forgotten. So I love the snooze feature. It is my best friend. So this is the reason why I don't do planning on paper. I don't have any planners. I'm totally okay with that. I have a single paper planner that I manage to write in maybe generally when I'm on the phone is when I remember to write in it. Um, I never use it. I never carry it around with me. Half the time, I don't even know where it's at. It's just not an efficient system. What I had become accustomed to over the years, being that I was an office worker, um, I was accustomed to having a desk calendar. Okay, so as you can see, this is future planning, Christy level, because I have one thing written down that I absolutely have to go and do. However, when I get close to this date, this probably like at the 1st of April, this will actually be converted to not only an alarm, but it'll go, eventually I'll get it on my Google Calendar. The reason it's on here is because I was on the phone, pen in hand, and I wrote it down here. But I like this system for jotting down notes, doodling, that kind of thing. I mean, I'll show you. It's got a lot of personal stuff, so I don't want to show you like a long view of it. But March is still on here, obviously, and um, March is I'll tear it off when March is over. I don't save it or preserve it. I actually use them like for scrap paper afterwards, like I paint on it or something. Um, so Pam and I were talking, and we both were talking. She loves the planner a lot more than me. She's totally different than me. So after my video, go watch Pam's video. She's going to be showing the system that she uses, which I think is pretty awesome. She does some of this beautiful handwriting stuff. Just go check her video out. I can't say enough about it. She's such a nice person. But I thought I would show you really super fast mine. I'm not going to get real in depth with it. I've already recorded this video a couple of times, and the last time it was 45 minutes long. And dude, that's too long for a video. So I'm going to gloss over a lot of stuff. I also have some very personal things written down in here. So I will be covering a lot of things up, which makes for a very boring video. So I'll try to just kind of gloss over all of my pages really quickly. If you want to see a particular page in depth, or you want me to explain more about it in depth, then leave me a comment below, ask me, tell me what the page title was, and I'm happy to do that. So basically, on my inner cover, just like I do with my journals, I have my name, my web address, and then because of modern times, I do have my cell phone number on here. I figure if someone finds it, they can text me or call me. I'm okay with that. I don't have my home address. I don't want a stalker person. Oh, let me fix this autofocus. I don't care if you see my phone number. Okay, hopefully that resolved the focusing problem. Oh, but it's out of focus, kind of, isn't it? Um, well, are you gonna be able to like see anything? Yeah, it's not that bad. Okay. So the, along with that, I put a quote called freedom is a state of mind. And the reason that that's there is because that really is what I live by. This quote says everything to me. I try to put it everywhere. um, and then this is a little sticker sent to me by one of my art friends, Layla, and I just really loved it. And so I put it in my bullet journal. Okay, my cat is distracting me. Sorry about that. I left the next page as blank. I often do that. So most people when they're doing bullet journaling, they're doing it as a planner. So they have like the little, they call it something different, but it's like a little legend for a map where they have all their little symbols and then the definition of what they mean. I don't really have any symbols, so I didn't, or not symbols anyway, that have any real meaning that aren't just decorative. So I didn't really need that. However, when I broke down my index, I've seen a lot of people who are sectioning off their bullet journals outside of or above and beyond the fact that you keep things in collections. Instead of sectioning off my journal, I kind of sectioned off just my index. And to be honest with you, I really only did it because after I started using it, I couldn't find stuff. Like, I'd have this long index. I'm like, well, I can't quickly at a glance find something. It's too much in there. So I broke mine down into 4 sections. General, kind of like, just that general subjects in school, just general stuff. So like my video schedule, that's just a layout that shows me my weekly video schedule. It's not, I'm not logging or tracking anything, but it's not really a list either. So I put that under general. Then I have trackers because I really like trackers. So I've developed quite a few of them already. Next, I have a list, and lists are basically that. They're just a number of connected items, somehow connected, but they're not actually like a log of, actual events or anything like that. So I consider those to be lists. And then just like I've just now said, I have logs. Logs are more like records of actual events, things that I need to be able just to go back and reference to, and they are factual. So that's what logs are. So that's kind of how I did it. I made it 4 pages. I've got the front, and if I were to fill it up, potentially I have a back page. Again, I've got a front, potentially I have a back page if I need it. Um, okay, so when I first started this out, I've used this for January, February, and March. I've mainly used it from February to March. However, I added January in just to try out different layouts. So I used January because I had all the numbers for January. Um, and so at first I started out with my personal tracker separate from my business tracker. But over time I decided that I really kind of liked, I have to blank out numbers for this. I really liked being able to see the two across one spread. So you'll see later on that I've done that. And just so that I wouldn't keep going back to this one. This was back before I put the tabs in. I folded them over because they're over. That month is over. So that's kind of why that was folded over. And this is a different category called Analyze This. And this is what I'm talking about as far as like analytics. So these are things like my watch time, my views, my revenue, and I've broken that out by week, but I want to be able to see a week at a glance because then you can see or spot trends. You can spot things ultimately changing. Hopefully the trend is always going up, but this is how you're going to find out if that's the case or not. And I really think I'm probably going to do, once I have an entire quarter, I'm probably going to do it in a quarterly view. And I think I'll lay that one out so that it actually will be an entire year. So it'll be January through December, and then it'll just be clear so you can see the quarters. Because I really want to see. I already experienced just in January alone that there's a phenomenon usually apparently with YouTube where when the year ends and starts over from December to January, your numbers get kind of wonky, and it's only for that period of time. You know what I mean? So I really kind of want to be able to see that so that I don't unnecessarily scare myself. Anyway, so this one is called Analyze This. I have one for every month. This was January and February, which clearly, I'm not going to show the numbers for that because it has things like revenue. Um, then here I have a list. This is, I think this one's probably just marked under list. It's called All the Things. And then I've kind of subtitled that Luxury, Want, Need, Desire, Lust, because it's just stuff that you know how you're like going through your average day and you're like, I really need to get some rain boots. And generally that occurs to me when my shoes are muddy and my feet are wet and I'm like, why do I not own any rain boots? So rain boots is on my list. So that's what this is for. And then after this, I have titles because this one I can show. I need to title a lot of stuff. I have to come up with names for cats, feral cats. I have to come up with names for paintings, names for classes. So many things I have to have names or titles for. So I've started keeping a list of them when they occur to me, or when I hear someone, say something that I go, oh, that'd be a great title for a painting. I write it down now. This one I may or may not keep. This is an entire year format, and it's just basically the number of video that I have posted any given day, so that I can spot trends in that, because I don't just post video to YouTube, I post video in a lot of different places, and I wanted to be able to track just how much video am I posting, and are there particular days in the month where I seem to post too many and other days where I don't post any. Now, I quit keeping record as of the 5th of February, so that tells me I may or may not keep this. And I do always find it fascinating when I see videos that I've, because I've recently started watching bullet journal videos. When I see people say, they're probably not going to keep something because they don't enjoy filling it out. I think that's important. If you don't enjoy doing it, don't keep doing it for the sake of doing it. Um, Okay, so like I said, some of these do have money on them, so, or proprietary information, so I do have to cover it. Another thing I come up with ideas for a lot, but don't particularly have anywhere to write it down, is our journal page and layout designs. I'm constantly coming up with them in my head, and then I'm constantly forgetting about them, and then later on going, I know I had a really great idea that had to do with that red flower, and I can't think of what that was. So now I've started writing those down. Here this is more of what I would refer to as a log. All I'm doing here is tracking the month, the basic topic for my Patreon lessons for that month, and then the amount of revenue and the number of patrons. You can actually get that access to that online and see it if you wanted, so it's not that big of a secret, but that's what that is. Oops, sometimes I have projects that I'm working on that I literally can't show anyone. That's what those were. Those are two upcoming projects that have information in them that I can't let anyone see. Another thing is my obsessions, and it seems silly to be tracking these, but however, I sometimes need to go back and say, what on earth was I really obsessed with in January, and that has changed since by June. You know what I mean? So I've just been keeping them in list format of the things I'm obsessed with. And as I end a month, I just kind of, put a line and end the month, and then I'll start another month. This, I think I may have mentioned it already. This is my video schedule. It's just a Monday through Sunday because I do post every single day. And really what it is topic ideas for the particular day. However, I've kind of grown away from this, so I'm I did it in pencil. I do most of my bullet journal, hacked bullet journal stuff. I think I'm going to call it an HBJ. No, I do most of it in pencil because I like to change my mind, and so this way I can erase those and change them. I think I'm taking too long. This is my record for my TNR cats. TNR stands for Trap Neuter Release, and I'm a community caretaker, and I am required to be basically to be keeping track of my cats. So that's what this is, and it's very helpful to me because sadly I sometimes need to note what is going on with them. So for instance, I have two cats, one in May and then one in July that went missing last year. I don't know, they may have passed away and it just didn't happen here. I don't know. So I keep track of them as well because the county where I live, they know who my cats are. So they may return my cats to me. So this one that went missing in July is highly possible I could get a phone call at some point in time and someone says, "Hey, we've got this cat. He's um, tracking as one of yours. Are you missing one?" So I'll know who's missing. But anyway, this also allows me to keep track of things like the actual type of cat they are, their age, whether they're male or female, that type of thing. Um, okay, so video and vlog topics. This is definitely different than, like, say, our journal page layouts. These are ideas for things that I think to myself, I really need to do a video about that, and then I forget and don't do a video about it. So I'm keeping track of it. And I've even broken this down a little bit further because sometimes I want to do videos that are kind of a series of videos, and so I want to list those together. So I created just, a separate little area for that. All right, so this is my current, I can show this. This is my current tracking page. Like I said before, I've got personal and biz, but I've got them in one spread for the month so I can easily see everything. I love doing this. It has been incredibly beneficial to me. I have easily been able to see the stuff that I just don't do. I have been able to see when I have super crazy busy times and don't get to my stuff, and sadly I'm able to see that I'm more consistent with doing tracking than I am with posting my social media. I'm terrible about it, so this is really helping to hold me a little bit more accountable. And then my really big and most favorite part of it is this little section here, and this is called work life balance. And I came up with this because I wanted to see, I feel like I don't do a very good job at that. And so far, this is number one. Up to here, it showed me that I don't do a good job of it, and up to here, it showed me that I needed, that I'm trying. I'm trying to do a better job. So this is my most favorite tracking device so far. And basically, I kind of imagine it like one of those little toggles. And I just put a little triangle as to where I think within that space my day fell, and loving that. And then here, these are the numbers that I want to see quickly at a glance so that I can see so far this one has continued to just have upward momentum. That's awesome. When you see the little dashes, that means there's been no change. And as you can see, the one that I need to work the most on is Google Plus. So if you like my channel and you like seeing my videos and you want me to make more, please go friend me or follow me or fan me or whatever you call it on Google Plus, pretty please, because I really need to move that number. It's right now at 582, and I would absolutely give anything to get it over 1,000. So do me a favor if you don't mind. That is a way in which, if you can't afford to take classes, but you really love all the free videos, that's a way that you could really, really support me, and it would mean a lot to me. All right, I'm going to try to go faster. This is my Analyze This page. I actually can do this at any time because you can actually pull it up by those dates without losing the numbers. So I've just been lazy and haven't had a chance to start it yet for March. TVIs is just for me to track, to be honest with you, where I'm accessing what I'm watching, because I pay a lot of money for cable, and I'm finding that I only watch a couple of shows on cable and everything else I watch on the internet. And that doesn't bode well for my cable subscription in the future. Okay, ranty rants on one line. Sometimes I want to rant about something, but I don't necessarily want it to be in my art journal because I show my art journal pages so much. And I kind of feel like, sometimes it's just information people don't need to know that I, had a little rant about something one day. So I thought it would be fun to try to put them in here instead and limit myself to only one line. So, for instance, I'll just give you a little tiny insight. If you know what ASMR is, and I don't know what that stands for, but I know that it's like, people listening to people whispering and people turning pages and crinkling paper, right? I can't stand it. It absolutely freaks me out. And here's the thing. I don't mind the sound of crinkling paper. I don't mind it when someone whispers, but when someone like when I see a video that's dedicated intentionally to that, I'm like, that's just weird and creepy. And I know that's just my personal opinion. Please don't hate on me for it if you happen to love ASMR. It just freaks me out. So that's like a example for you of what would be a one-liner ranty rant. Sadly, I am terrible about documenting or keeping a list of the actual ArtGeek prompts. So I've started this, but I've actually only gotten through the first original 19, and there's probably a good 40, 50, 60 more. So I have my work cut out for me. I gave myself some extra pages for that. I have a garden. I'm trying to do my planting, and I'm trying to keep track of what's planted in what part of the garden because the garden is in it doesn't look like this. This is in a completely different location on the property than this one is. But this way I can at least give an idea of what I'm planting where. And then also too, I've neglected to ever write down my seed inventory so that I know what I do and don't have, and what I need to purchase when I'm at the store. So that's why I thought I would do a seed inventory. Word soup. A lot of people collect quotes. I like to collect quotes from real people or from, like modern culture. So not necessarily older quotes. Like I have one here that's from Frida Kahlo. But I also have one that's from a fellow YouTuber, Shannon Green. So I kind of like the ones that are from like modern people that I know, and silly, funny stuff that they say. Like this one from Shannon was "finished is relative," and that just cracks me up and makes me laugh. Um, so that's what word soup is. I just write down stuff that I find inspiring or funny or humorous. I gave myself a couple pages, illustrated icons, and other bits and bobs. Basically, all these little icons that you've seen throughout the book are actually just little doodles that I've done. On like kids' school paper and stuff like that. And I decided to start collecting them and keeping them because I really like having an element that I can paste in, both here and my art journal, that if I feel so inclined, I can color it in, and if I don't have to. And keeping in mind the fact that I wanted to color it in, I did them on just a really plain sticker paper, no shininess, nothing that's going to impede me from coloring them in. And I'm using my favorite product to do that, which is my Letraset aqua markers. I love these things. I love watercolor. And the aqua markers don't bleed through too much on this particular, the Lystrom paper. So like for instance, back towards the beginning, here, the orange, all of that orange is this marker. I put it, heavy concentration actually as a marker where I wanted it, and then I came back in with a water brush and just, spread the color out a bit. A lot of fun, really enjoy doing that on occasion. Mostly I'm doing it kind of when I'm like thinking about something in my hacked bullet journal. That's kind of when I tend to doodle and do that kind of stuff. So I've started doodling directly into here now, and I've reserved several pages for myself. And if you're interested, I am selling my journal bits pages, and then you just purchase full sheet sticker paper. It's an Avery product. You can get it in any office supply store, probably online too, and just cut them out. And what I like again is that you can just use marker right over them. um, and I will sell them. I think I talked about it on one of my my live show streams, and everyone said $1 a page sounded like a really awesome price, so that's what they're going to sell for. So if you want some, little doodles that are by someone other than just you, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you don't want to look at your own stuff anymore. You want to color someone else's. You can pick these up. If you want to find out each time new ones release, go to my website golfsprite.com/learn, and in the right hand side of the page you'll see newsletter sign up. Sign up there. I also often put freebies out to the people who are signed up to my newsletter. So it's a good way not only to know when you can buy something, or when a new class is coming up or new videos, but it's also a great place to get free stuff on occasion. I gave myself a couple of pages for this because I figure there's probably going to be more of that going on. And then brain dump. Well, this page is actually called All the Colors. This page has nothing on it yet because I already have an idea for what I want to put on here, but I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. That would be something I would come back and explain later, after I have better. Well, after I've actually started the page. This is brain dump. It's exactly what it is. Brain dump has a tendency to be really highly personal things that I don't want to say to someone, but are like on the tip of my tongue, and I really need to get them out of my head, off the tip of my tongue, without actually saying them out loud to someone. So I write them in here. These are the types of pages I probably would rip out so that no one ever saw them. I don't know. We'll see. But I gave myself quite a few pages for brain dump just so that uh, I figure there's going to be quite a bit on here. Again, with everything I've done here, if I run out of room and I want to do more, I can just make another collection of the same stuff and just add it on to the index. So then finally, the last thing I have is my 80-10-10 page. This basically is just where I'm tracking information, odd bits of information. So it's kind of like a list, because it's odd bits of information that pertain to being vegan and the particular way that I eat and what's important to me, or what I really need to remember. So like I had a run-in with Candida. It basically resolved, or came out, I guess you would say, as sores in my mouth. And the only question I have now is whether or not it was actually Candida itself, or if it was the simple fact that I'm allergic to Brazil nuts. And I really think I might just be allergic to Brazil nuts because I've been able to add some fats, healthy fats, of course, but some fats back into my diet, no mouth problems. But if I eat a Brazil nut, I go right back to having the mouth problems again. So I think I just might be allergic to Brazil nuts. But anyway, that's where what this kind of information pertains to, why I have this page. Hope I haven't been talking too fast, but I really don't want this to be such a long video. This particular Lystrom that I purchased, it's the 1917, and I think they refer to it as an A4. Is that right? Um, I might get a larger one the next time because there is a slightly bigger one, but for this time around, I wanted to get a hardcover version, and I wanted it to have a lot of pages so that I would have plenty of pages to get comfortable with. So this has, I think, like 200 and, let's see. It has 249 numbered pages in it, which is pretty awesome. It's a good amount for me. It has the dot system, which is perfect because I like all my different alternative layouts. So I don't want pre-drawn lines, but I do need a little bit of a guide so that I have some somewhat straight lines. So I'm really, really happy with this purchase of this particular book. I highly recommend it. Love the paper, not too much bleed through. Some ghosting, that doesn't bother me. If you've seen my journals, you totally get it. I like the size of it. It reminds me very much of my Moleskine, and I loved using that. So I think this is going to work out really well. Like I said, though, if I'm still using it heavily by the time this is used up, which will probably be sometime in 2017, then I might go to the larger, which I think is an A5. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much if you've made it all the way through to the end of this and you're still even remotely interested. Um, and please, please go check out Pam Tonino's video. The link will be in the description below, and I'll even put an iCard up for those of you who know what cards are. Okay, thanks so much. I'll see you guys later.